Hi, hello. In today's video, I will be comparing how I do traditional art versus how I do digital art. So, I messed up the recording for the first part of the sketch, but it's okay. I got the painting process, which is more of what I was trying to do, because the sketching is normal regardless, other than I did use a brown pencil, because I have learned through the one painting class I took that because it's better to use a colored pencil when sketching for watercolor, because graphite tends to make it all muddy and nasty. Just a pro tip to any of you traditional artists. I don't even know if it's a pro tip. It's probably a very common sense thing. If you're not, or any digital artists who are like, oh, let me try watercolor. Yeah, just so you know that. Also, throughout the sketching process, I didn't realize I should have clipped my page shut so you guys get to see peeks into my newest sketchbook. Most of it is D&D characters. Those two are D&D characters. Other people's D&D characters, not mine. And I drew a whole page of Old Man Yell. But once I clipped down that page, I started the painting process. So for this first section, because I did record it in 2 sessions, I painted the skin. I have let me pull up my desk here. Koi watercolors. I have Koi watercolors. Those are the ones I've been using since that painting class in my freshman year of high school. They're pretty reliable. I actually really like how they are. I really like the little water brushed pen because I like being able to control how much water I put on my pen. And so I really like the squishy water brush pens. If I start doing more traditional art in my own time, I might try to get gouache, because I've always been interested in gouache. It sounds fun. And that's all really traditional art is to me. I just get to sit down and relax. I like when I crochet, it's just like a chill thing for me to do. So this drawing is a lot less intense than the part 2 where I recreated digitally. I also don't like the recreated digitally version. I think it's a little too intense. I need to look back on it and see what I don't like about it, but I don't really care for it as much. On a technical scale, like a rendery scale, it is better, but I just like the traditional one more. On to the next part, which is, or not next part, but the next section where I'm like doing more of the rendering. I did the hair and the skin first because they're all warm colors, so if they smash together it would have been fine. I also used the blush. I blended the blush a little bit with my finger. Stella is a living doll, so she's very pale. She's based off of porcelain dolls. The realm where she comes from is a New Capenna, for any D&D nerds out there. So I based her new outfit that I redesigned her vaguely off of those dolls. Not her looks, because if you look at dolls from the 1920s, it's past the 2-minute mark. They're all fugly. They're all really fugly, and they're really funny. Anyway, for Stella's hair, I gave Stella a full name. Her full name is Stella la Sol, which means Stella the Sun. Her hair marks a sunset because it goes from a yellow to an orange to a purple. And she has a very sunny attitude. I don't know. I gave her that name because I thought it was short, it was sweet, and it was one of the few things in Spanish that I can actually pronounce. Yay. So yeah. For the watercolor, the hair was giving me trouble because I couldn't figure out how to make the proper gradient I wanted to do. That is the one thing I think I liked more about the digital version. You could actually see the gradient in her hair from yellow to orange to purple much better. But other than that, I really do the traditional one more. I think I just like it more. And then for Stella's eyes, I did redesign her eyes to be more like doll eyes. Not the ones where they flip upside down and close, because I hate those eyeballs. They creep me out. But they're more mechanical, so you can see the eyelid open and close like an animatronic eyelid. For Stella's eyes, This has been a thing for a while where in her original design, her eyes were just blue, but now they're like a blue and purple because I thought it'd be really cool to have multiple colors in the eye to make it look more like her eye is painted, to make her look more artificial. I really like ball joint dolls, which is why Stella even exists. So I really like hammering in that. It's not like I guess it would be uncanny, but it's not like uncanny like creepy, like uncanny as in not real. Most of Stella's look is supposed to be like ethereally beautiful, or at least that's what I based her features off of. Somebody who is just very unnaturally, not like unnaturally pretty, but not real pretty. That's as great as I'm getting to my explanation. She has very unnatural features. She has like larger than normal eyes. Like it's very apparent if you look hard enough that she is a doll. I wanted that to be apparent. Another thing I changed about Stella, other than the eyes and stuff, is she has elf ears now, or like big elf ears. This was made for a joke. For the new version of the D&D campaign I'm gonna be in, where an elf goes, "Oh, another elf, yay!" She goes, "What's an elf?" And that, I can't wait for that. I can't wait to do that. It's gonna be really funny. Also, just the big ears are really cute. That's about it. Also, and also it goes into the story because elves are like why she's a doll in a weird way. I'm not gonna go too into it because spoileries. Yeah. For the dress, for the original design, it was a purple dress with blue accents, but I ended up inverting it for this drawing by accident. But I like it more than the purple dress with the blue accents, so I'm probably gonna keep it. Especially because a lot of Stella's design is very, or at least her clothing is very purple heavy. So I think it'd be really cool throughout her development she not picks out more purple clothes, she doesn't stray away from the blue, but she leans in more of that purple because it's her personal choice. It's not what she was dressed in, because this is what the dress is. She didn't pick this dress, she was dressed in this dress. Her whole story is about like autonomy, sorta ish. Another thing, which is Stella used to have pigtails and she has a big braid now, but she'll get the pigtails back. That's another autonomy thing. I thought it'd be really cool if she decided she wanted the pigtails instead of just always having the pigtails. For a lot of you guys barely have seen Stella. The only other time I've drawn Stella was when I tried the jelly art style. So most of you don't really know much about my D&D character, my singular one. But D&D is slowly infecting and becoming more and more of my life. And so I have been like obsessed. I've been having D&D brain rot for a while. I've also been having Fallout brain rot, which is weird because I've never really got into Fallout until a friend suggested D&D AU with Fallout, and now that is what that's my brain rot for gonna be for a while. It's gonna be Fallout D&D AU. Because I thought about Stella being a synth, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. I could that's her story stays, even though it's a completely different media. That's so cool. It is cool. Like, not much changes, and I thought that was really cool. But yeah. And the last thing I do is line art, because this watercolor needed it really badly. I don't care for line art, especially traditionally. I have a really shaky ass hand. Same thing with digitally. That's why I don't care for line art. I have to have the stapler all the way up because my hand can get really shaky and it can really mess up the line art. But I really do think the line art helped on this piece, because this piece isn't very render heavy. It's very blending colors together. It also isn't very shadow heavy, which is something I wish I had on the old one. And then I wish I could have done more, but I don't really know how to render with watercolors, so I just did what I knew how to do. The only other thing from the digital one that I really liked that I don't like about the traditional one is I wish the traditional one had a black background, but I'm not wasting that much black watercolor on this. But yeah, this is the traditional version. I forgot to say that Stella also has a barcode. But this is the traditional version. I had a lot of fun making it. It was relaxing to just sit back and not have to stare at a screen to draw something. I've actually been having a sketchbook revival, so you guys might be seeing more videos where I'm recording on my phone over 2 cups, because my phone is stacked on 2 cups right now, or in this video, to create this. But I had a really nice time just relaxing, just doodling and doing my thing, and just painting and blending, and just, even though traditional art you can't undo, it felt more like chill because I guess I don't associate it with the work I do. So it was just chill to be able to like just paint something. Then I've been sketching a lot more in my sketchbook, even though the sketches can be a little wonky. It's just nice to get away from the computer and just sit on a piece of paper, even though I'm still probably doing something on my computer while I'm sketching. So yeah, this is the first part, and then we will go on to the second part where I do the digital version. I am back from such a long break. Sorry. I love making those jokes when it's like a cut. I think it's really funny. Okay, onto the digital version of this drawing. I'm gonna kind of just skim over it because I just did my usual digital painting thingy where I duplicate the layer and then render over it, and then I did some extra shading and my usual shading style that I haven't used in a long time. By the end of this drawing, I wanted it to be over with because I hate drawing the same thing over and over again. It was fun drawing. I feel like I would have had more fun if I didn't rush myself, because I colored it all in one day, and then the next day I rendered and shaded and exported it and did everything all in one day because I didn't space out the workload, and I think that's why I don't like this piece as much. But onto the process of this. So since I already made the traditional version, I just took a picture of it and I redid the sketch over on digital. I didn't think I needed to redraw it. I did fix some of the proportions because her head was a little too big, and for how I usually proportion things, because traditionally I kind of chibify everything to an extent. And then I started the coloring. I didn't color pick, I just eyeballed it because I usually prefer eyeballing colors. And then when that was done, I started rendering. My usual rendering process, I just painted over, then I made sure I added depth, and I tried not to do a lot of shading rendering but more depth rendering because I knew I wanted to do the shading separately. But in hindsight, I probably should have just done the thing that I did with the Mara drawing I did, where I just put the two together, because I made the lighting really intense and it made it look weird without it. I might redo this drawing, and I might just start from scratch and might just redraw everything instead of taking from the traditional sketch, because I also think that's also where I didn't like it. Yeah. I don't have terribly too much to say, because this is a very similar process to a lot of my other videos where I like finish things and paint them. I rendered in the hair. I made sure to keep in the gradient, and I made sure when I was texturing the hair and making sure the hair looked like hair that I kept the gradient. So I added in yellow and I blended it together, and I added in strands of orange and yellow all throughout. I also added some highlights to, again, make the hair look like a 3D thing. Because I did all the rendering on one layer and all the coloring on one layer, like a lunatic, I had to select the blush because I forgot. I still has quite a bit of blush because this is supposed to look like a cute little doll. And then I added that. Rendering the eyes was a little bit, because it looked freaky. Her eyes looked really scary for a little bit until I finally rendered the eyelashes. But yeah. But once I did that, it was all coming together. I also don't think I rendered her nose right, because I imagined her to have more, a tiny nose, but like a flat, tiny nose, if that makes sense. Like how a baby's nose is, because she's based off of a doll. And that's what So if I were to re-render this, I'd probably give her the features I more or less imagine, other than like the eyes and stuff. And I also would have desaturated, because I do use a lot of saturated colors, but I think for this dress, because it is older, or supposed to be based off of more old-fashioned-y things, it needs to be more desaturated. I also think adding the clear tulle parts to the dress made it a little bit too modern-y. So yeah, and then for the shading, I was pretty tired of this drawing by the time I started shading, so I gave up on the shading. And I wish, like I said, I wish I just rendered in the shading. I feel like that would have made my life so much easier, instead of blending it and then reblending it. I thought I was making less work for myself, but I really wasn't. And then for the background, I put it in black and I made it more dramatic because this piece needed something. That is the Stella digital version. I don't really care for it as much, other than I did like that I made the background just my watermark copy pasted. Good luck, art thief. But yeah, that is the digital version of the Stella drawing. Comment which one you guys like more. I'm on the side of I like the traditional one more. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.